Morning guys, Tom Fury, Zero News. I wanted to cover something very quickly today. I've tried to cover it in previous videos, but I haven't addressed it directly head on. Many people, regardless of where they are on the right, claim correctly that a lot of our problems aren't to do with race and colour and everything else. They are to do with immigration, housing, and certain religions and certain types of behaviour that have been imported into this country, right? I think we can agree that I've basically summarised it, right? And so we've had all kinds of channels and things coming out and saying this. Hardline channels, not so hardline channels, but there's just been a genuine agreement. So, okay, when Ben B brought up race, yes, he accidentally triggered a race debate. That's over now. The heat around that is over. So the question is, why do people keep bringing up race, especially if you're on the right? We don't need any more definitions of what an Englishman is or anything else, because we already know, and there are already answers. Everything else, we're past that. I did some research into this, and I'm going to try and be as blunt as I can be. Every time we're talking about race at the moment, now the Benabid thing's worn off. We're not doing it because we're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it because we're being played. And people are walking straight into the trap. People like the left and the centre introduce this argument into the movement just as it's about rising, just as someone's rising, okay? Now, I did some research, and also, I don't know if there's a guy called Ken LaCour. I don't know if you've heard of him, but I also had a look at some of his research because he does some really fair research, as fair as it can be, and it's a well-known tactic by activists specifically, which is why it caught my attention. Well-known tactic by activists to use words like I was saying to somebody, why do they keep using words like Nazi, racist, this, that? Surely by now they can see it's bouncing off us. But they know that these words have been so, they represent evil and all the rest of it, that even people like us will have a revulsion to them. And so will a lot of other people, the general public. So one of the two reasons they do it, one of them is because when you bring these words up, and it gives you the same revulsion as if you see someone being sick by the side of the road. Your first instincts are going to be to back away, to make sure you don't. Yeah, it's going to be a primal instinct. Is my point. And it's to kick this primal instinct in, to have that feeling of disgust before you've even looked at the data or looked at anything anybody's saying. If you're calling someone that, again, it can cause that reaction in the person the creator themselves, or the person themselves, but also, like I say, in the general public. And the general public generally tend to want to distance themselves from anything where they think they could be sucked into anything, so it's a tactic that's used not because they've come up with some crazy tactic that's used because it's worked, and it can still work. Maybe not in the direct conversation stopping ways, but in other ways, which is part two, controlling the narrative. Since all this race stuff's come up, all right, it came up, it was dealt with, it's been done. You could call me a hypocrite for making this video, but I'm making this video because people aren't stopping. And it's like, the race thing was done. Nobody asked for the race debate. It was brought up as an accidental response to a smear, and then it's over. And to keep talking about it, all that does is empower the people that want to call us names. And what I mean by that is, and infect the parts of the public that might otherwise support us. Because what they do is they stir the pot, they control the narrative, and they get us all talking about race. And then they'll go sit back on their high pedestals and say to the public and say to whoever else will listen, look, see, Or they're obsessed with race. It's all they ever talk about. And they will go and clip things out of our videos of us talking about race endlessly. And it makes us look the way they want us to look. These are the two reasons why activists do this. It's not just brainlessness, although they're brainless. It is actually it's a two-pronged attack. And the reason they do it is like the reason anybody does anything. It's because it works. So can we agree that we've answered all the race questions? We've answered all the what it is to be English questions for our own ability to think for ourselves and not be guided by the left or the centre. I think it's time to move on. Tom Fury, Zero News.